James Gunn has informed us of plans for Batman in the DCU, and it's something that the audience will absolutely love and be on board with. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. Please like, share and subscribe for more. After refreshing the palette with a grounded, nostalgic and optimistic take on Superman, James Gunn has turned to the dark side for his next Justice League hero, Batman. The Brave and the Bold will not only feature a more hardcore version of the Dark Knight, but also make him more brutal than expected. One of the things that James Gunn promised in his first plan of action was to tie in all 5 branches of DC under one wing: comics, animation, film, shows, and gaming. As such, Grant Morrison's recent return to DC Comics for the first time in more than a decade has to be indicative of something brewing. James Gunn has always been sure-footed about his vision for whatever superhero story he is cooking up, but Batman might just be his kryptonite. The DC chief recently spoke about his vision for Gotham's Dark Protector, and it sounds like he is leaning toward a darker, brutish version of the hero than the cool, campy, and punk rock characters he usually opts for in his films. In the Two Bears, One Cave podcast, Gunn revealed, "I like the detective Batman, but I also really like the fighter Batman. That's just the brute that's fighting." Now, this may either come as a shock or a surprise to the fans, depending on whether they favor the campy Silver Age arc or Frank Miller's Dark Tales. However, one thing is for sure: Zack Snyder's fans are extremely happy with the news. Regardless of who the writer turns out to be, James Gunn's turn to the dark side means only good things for DC. If there's one thing comic fans can agree on, it's that Batman is inherently reflective of a brooding and noir character. As such, a campy Adam West-inspired run will not only deter the fans but also draw ridicule. All of this signals a return of the Snyderverse era, Batsy, sans all the branding and killing. Known for their deliciously gothic and incredibly dark stories, Morrison has penned such stories as Arkham Asylum, Batman R.I.P., and the highly original and inventive Batman, Gothic. Moreover, their return perfectly lines up with the Brave and the Bold's production, although Gunn hinted that the script was already being written. Known for their deliciously gothic and incredibly dark stories, Morrison has penned such stories as Arkham Asylum, Batman R.I.P., and the highly original and inventive Batman, Gothic. Moreover, their return perfectly lines up with the Brave and the Bold's production, although Gunn hinted that the script was already being written. Should Batman have white eyes? Should his utility belt be yellow? Should he have the yellow crest around the bat? None of those things are what's most important to me. What matters is the character, the story. Given all of this new information, it will certainly be interesting to see what the filmmaker has in mind for the next exciting phase of DCU in the coming years ahead. Below is a table of all upcoming projects in the DC slate, along with their necessary details. In Superman 2025, James Gunn delivered a movie that unlocked new emotions and unloaded buckets of serotonin on the audience after much wariness, doubt, and anticipation regarding Gunn's new take on the hero. David Corenswet's arc restored the DC fandom's faith in good old-fashioned notions of love and kindness in a world that has long forgotten their worth. However, Gunn will ditch all of the hopeful positivity from his first DCU film for the Brave and the Bold. This time, Batman will forego all campiness to enlist a brutish hero who does not pull back his punches. Moreover, Gunn has also revealed that his primary focus for Batman is on his character arc and development rather than the embellishments on his suit. While the director was quite sure about going with the comic-accurate trunks over the suit look for Superman, when it comes to Batman, Gunn revealed. James Gunn dismissed demands for a blue-gray suited Batman, stating the reverence the character had in pop culture and prioritizing story. Welcome James Gunn's Superman has finally managed to beat Zack Snyder's Man of Steel, and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video collection. Please like, share, and subscribe for more. If you're just joining us, James Gunn doesn't give a damn, and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. None of those things are important to me. And subscribe for more. Fans have been notoriously particular about who plays their favorite hero. Wanted to ensure that one of the most popular superheroes in the world, because Peacemaker Season 2 delves heavily into the concepts some controversy in the 2025 flick. From Michael Keaton to Ben Affleck to Robert Pattinson, Superman is currently dominating the streaming charts when announced the film is the most streamed film on HBO Max around the world. James Gunn is really in a tricky spot has finally managed to beat Zack Snyder's Man of Steel has already been hit at the worldwide box office collection will not fit in well Superman box DCU. James Gunn beats Zack Snyder's Man of Steel, and the delay in the sequel has also led to a delay in The Brave and the Bold. James Gunn's DCU does not want all set for motion on screen, and Superman was going to be Gunn's tentpole just on which the entirety of the cinematic universe would be based. With a blue-gray suit, fortunately for the director, Superman turned out to be a massive success, with no fan agreeing with the other, by millions of people. Such elements were not a priority for him at the moment. Turned out to be one of the best iterations of Superman, which eventually kickstarted the DCU grayest to be bigger and better. The blue has not been Superman seen in live action. Zack Snyder's Man of Steel is proof that the character didn't die with the DCU. When asked if he would be bringing in the classic comic Gunn's humble and humorous take on the character of Kal-El, Two Bears, One Cave tentpole DCU flick none of those become a hope for people that Gunn's upcoming DCU movies will follow a similar tone of humor, the story, serious storylines, and I think that we have a really good story now. Of course, for what's happening, the world will have to wait and watch the future of DCU. There have been no concrete developments regarding Batman. It's looking Brave and the Bold, according to set to be the solo movie. The movie has been ranking #1 around the world. However, ever since its digital Crusader has already made his first appearance, albeit in animated iconic way James Gunn beats Zack Snyder's religious aspect to so much of the stuff that's very uncomfortable for the DCU. Should Batman have white eyes? What are your thoughts about Superman? That's a big subject of conversation in the comments below. And it's like, guys, that's really what matters. But those are the things they care about. Should his utility belt be yellow? Should he have the yellow crest around the bat? All of that sort of stuff. The filmmaker mentioned how he has been asked about the comic-accurate blue-gray suit for the Caped Crusader, but has also received contradictory demands from other fans. Hence, he mentioned, it was not important for him, and that he prioritized story over everything else. Gunn has also been front and center as the co-chief of DC Studios and regularly takes questions from fans. So, fans no doubt have demands for their favorite characters, and Gunn cannot just say he did not listen and did his own thing. Some might say that it is not possible to do Batman without it being gritty, and to them, I say, Adam West's Batman existed. James Gunn said in the podcast that the Batman he fell in love with was the 70s Neil Adams comics that took the character back to his dark and brooding roots after West's version mellowed him down. Reading the sort of early 70s Neil Adams Batman comics that were much darker and grittier. And I was like, oh, I like this Batman. You know, I had seen the sillier Batman. And I'd seen the sillier Batman on TV, and I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool. And it was supernatural Batman, too, which is something we've never seen Batman in, like a sort of supernatural environment. While Gunn may say that he is fond of a supernatural Batman, it is highly unlikely that such an iteration would make it into the DCU, as Superman and Peacemaker have already established the tone of the franchise. We had incredible takes on Batman with Zack Snyder's DCU and Matt Reeves' ultra-realistic The Batman. The DCU's Batman will have to double down and go the absolute Batman way, or fans will have to make do with a lighter caped Crusader. What do you think James Gunn will do with Batman in the DCU? Comment below. James Gunn's Superman has finally managed to beat Zack Snyder's Man of Steel in terms of profit at the worldwide box office collection. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. Please